Welcome to Talking Junk. Welcome to Talking Junk. Welcome to Talking Junk. Welcome to Talking Junk.
Welcome to Talking Junk. Happy Friday, everybody. We're here once again. Me and Talon. How you doing tonight, Talon?
Doing all right. I'm a little sleepy today, but you know what? We're all right. We're doing good.
I hear you. My allergies are kicking my ass. But it's work as usual. Business as
Sign
usual.
of the spring, though, right?
Fuck the spring.
Excuse all my hangers I got up here. I'm just doing some cleaning around here, so that's gonna happen. Sorry, y'all gotta deal with it.
Excuse my not give a fuck face. It was a long week at work. But let's get right into it. Our guest today, Mr. Norman Plotkin, a cancer survivor turned hypnotherapist. So let's bring him on right now. How you doing, Norman?
I'm good. Good. How you guys?
Pretty good.
Doing all right. Can't complain.
So where are you calling from?
I'm in Sacramento, California.
All right.
Oh, okay. So you're like maybe 6 hours north of me. I'm in Santa Maria right now on the coast.
Oh, okay.
And you're about
Actually, I'm a good amount of family.
2-3 days drive from me. I'm all the way in Florida.
FLA. Got it.
It's a long 2-3 days, to tell you that. But, yeah.
So Norman, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm on about my fourth life within this one. And, you know, if you live long enough, it can be a long, strange trip. And I didn't go to college right out of high school. I went to the Marine Corps, and I worked in the oil fields. Then I worked in a rock plant, making little rocks out of big rocks, like Fred Flintstone. Then I was construction lineman. I was hooking telephone poles, building cable TV, thinking the world looked up to linemen. And the first of my gifts, and this may sound strange, but I call these unwrapped gifts. My brother was killed in a car accident, and it was tragic.
I hear that.
Yeah, thanks. It was 1988. He was just 22, pre-med. And as tragic as it sounds, and I lost my brother, who was we were 2 years apart, it woke me up. And I got my ass down off the telephone pole and into college, and I was in a hurry now. And I dedicated myself. You know, I never had to try. I was born with the gift. It's a curse too, but I could wing it at a high level. You know what I mean? I never had to try. He had to work his ass off. And so suddenly I'm without the guy who was part of my whole life up to this point. So Christmas didn't feel right, you know, all these things. So I moved in with my mom, started college, and I was in a hurry. Everyone else taking 5-6 years, I did it in 3. When I had my exit interview in the government department at Sac State, I had 18 units of internship, and she looked at that. She said, "That'll never happen again." I'm like, "What? Doesn't everybody?" You know. So I spent 25 years. Started up as a clerk, as an undergrad. I was a clerk in the legislature. Worked my way up. I ran campaigns. I was a political consultant. I was committee consultant to the health committee and the insurance committee, and then I got hired by the doctors to be a lobbyist, and so I lobbied for the doctors for a few years, and then I went out on my own and had my own lobbying firm, and did that for 13 years.
Now, what's a lobbyist?
A lobbyist. So, you know, I started in government. I knew the rules. I knew the process inside out. And so a lobbyist is someone who understands that. Many times they're lawyers, not always, but they understand the whole process. And the legislature, they introduce, and there's a legislature in every state, they introduce thousands of bills, and bills just a proposed law. And they introduce all these bills, and it hurts somebody. It helps somebody, but it hurts somebody. And if if it's your industry that it hurts, they hired a lobbyist. And lobbyist, I would go in and tell a story. And I represented the automotive aftermarket, energy, some petroleum. So I would bring my clients to Sacramento and have them tell the story about, if you pass this law, this is how it's going to hurt. These are the people. And then I'd go into their district and introduce, members to the people who live in their district who they were going to hurt. And then it makes it harder for them to pass a bill that's going to hurt my guys, right? So it was about storytelling. I grew up on a ranch, rode rodeo, but around a bunch of old cowboys it's a storytelling tradition. So I fit right in. It was all about telling a story. Public policy is about telling a story. Sometimes it's the story of decline. Things are bad and they've been bad forever and they're getting worse. And damn it, if we don't do something now, it's all over, right? Mm-hmm. So I did that and I loved it. I thought I loved it. I really identified. I loved my Porsche that I drove to work every day and the one I raced on the track and my Italian suits and my big 4,000 square foot house and all of these things, right? That I worked hard for. But it's dirty. Politics is dirty. It's about money and players. And I got sick. I had cancer. And it's dis-ease. And at first I'm like, I just want to get back to normal. I didn't realize normal was what made me sick. The high life, drinking, I got a martini out. That's how So
what kind of cancer was it?
Papillary carcinoma, thyroid. So they cut out my thyroid, 5 lymph nodes. I'd never let them take knowing what I know now, I wouldn't go down that route, but you don't know. I knew lots of doctors. This is the high propensity, this is the therapy that they call for. So I just went where I was told and did what Now,
if you could do it over, which way would you go?
Alternative. I wouldn't let them cut my organ out. There's a whole lot of things. And this is the journey that I began that led me to hypnosis and hypnotherapy. Power of this mind. We're powerful. The placebo effect, every pill that goes to market, it has to do better than the sugar pill because the sugar pill works 30% of the time.
Wow.
Think about that for a minute. You take the Pfizer drug, half, 1/3 gets that, 1/3 gets nothing, and 1/3 gets a sugar pill. And 30% of the time, the sugar pill works because we think. So this whole experience led me to, at first, I wanted to get back to normal, and then I realized normal was what made me sick. So I walked away from all of it, and I moved to LA and found this school. The universe led me to it. If you'd have told me I was going to be a hypnotherapist, I'd have laughed your ass out of the room. My 2,000 shallow friends in Sacramento in the lobby, they laugh at me all the time. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Because they inhabit that sick world that it's not for me anymore. And so I've found my way to this. The universe led me to it. I listened and I realized that I was being called. And cancer was my second unwrapped gift. And I wanted to call my first book, The Unwrapped Gift, but my publisher said, Norm, cancer probably was a gift for you. But how long did it take you to figure that out? I'm like, yeah, it was a few years. She goes, you got to meet people where they are. And if you're writing a book to help people who are in the middle of cancer, they're not thinking it's a gift. That's a real, you know what I mean? That's
definitely not.
Yeah. So I call it Take Charge of Your Cancer, the 7 Proven Steps to Healing and Recovery. So I wrote the book. I went to school, and I had to straddle both worlds. I lobbied for an old client that covered 16 Western states, and I was doing hypnosis and hypnotherapy nights and weekends. What was really fun, I'd be in state capitals, and I would be with other lobbyists, and I'd ask them if they wanted their handwriting analyzed. They're a little scared at first, and then when I nail them, they're like, "Ooh, shit." So you know what I mean? It's like
what do you mean by analyzing their writing, their penmanship?
Yeah, I can look at your cursive writing and tell a bunch of stuff about you.
What if you don't write in cursive?
You got to write in cursive. That's how it works. There's a
So, for the sake of argument, if I just wrote my name in cursive, you'd be able to analyze it?
name is different. The name is how you want to show up in the world. If you
Okay.
gave me, what I do is I give you a piece of copy paper with no lines. And I ask you, just give me as much, the more you give me, the better I can tell you. And I can look at it's called graphology. It's a science. And
Wow.
they taught it in the hypnotherapy. I went to the only nationally accredited school of hypnotherapy. It's in LA, and it's a great school. It was 18 months, over 800 hours residency. It's the real deal, because you can get a hypnotherapy certificate in a weekend. And be real careful about getting, because there's hypnosis, which you see in Vegas and at the county fair, the state fair, or whatever. That's hypnosis, and they're in. It's real. It's hypnosis. They've agreed to do that. They've signed up. Yeah, I agree to do something funny on stage, and that's real. They get hypnotized. That shows the power of hypnosis. But I don't do stage. I do hypnotherapy, and I get at people for just, it's like, think of it about, it's the human operating system is our subconscious. It's the thing that keeps us 98.6 and our heart rate and our, resting heart rate and all of these things. It's the thing that helps us so we don't have to learn how to ride a bike every time or shift a car. This is the subconscious mind. And so, you get, your uncle touches you a little funny when you're 6 years old, and all of a sudden you develop this, glitch in your code, because you're going to defend against this thing, and it may not show up tomorrow or the next day, but you're going to be triggered later in life, and all of a sudden this glitch in your code is going to raise its head in some kind of neurotic way.
So is most hypnotherapy about fixing a problem?
Yeah, overcoming a behavior like smoking or losing weight. And I'll tell you, it's never what they come in for. Like, a lot of women who come in for weight loss, it's that last 15 pounds that they can't seem to shake. They've been abused. And it's a layer of protection against the emotions of the outside world. And so what happens is, so there's this threat, and we develop this behavior, a defense mechanism, and the threat's long gone. Person could be dead, but the subconscious mind doesn't want to be exposed to that anymore. And so it holds up this behavior that creates some kind of hypervigilance or traumatic response.
Muscle memory.
It's muscle memory. It's subconscious muscle memory. And it's really hard, smoking. The box says, the Surgeon General says it'll kill you. And consciously, I got to quit, man. It's going to kill me. The Rona is an upper respiratory disease.
Mm-hmm.
But you keep puffing because you rationalize, well, I knew that guy, he was 93. He smoked until he was 93. We all got to die. We all got to die sometime. It won't get me till I'm old, and I was going to die anyway. Like, there's these rationalizations, right? And so I'll tell you another. I had a client, she had fibromyalgia. And she works in the Capitol. She's works in a man's world, the power chick, and she'd been in the Air Force, super strong, and the doctors, all they could do was give her pain pills. So for 9 years, she took pain pills, and then she got sick of it. She was depressed, sleeping in, couldn't do anything, pain, pills work less and less. Now you got liver issues. Now you got gallbladder issues. So she quit the pills, and then she came and saw me. And I asked her, well, what was going on in your life when this started? No one had ever asked her that. They just gathered up the list of symptoms that she had, and you put her in the bucket of fibromyalgia and give her pain pills. So it turns out she was going through a tough divorce. And I got to know her. She has this tough exterior, and inside she was a marshmallow. And so what she did was she couldn't handle the emotional pain of the divorce and the battle of custody and all this stuff. So she just shoved that pain into her body, because physically she was strong and could take it, but emotionally she couldn't. And so for 9 years she struggled with this until one day I asked her if she was ready to get rid of it. She's like, if I could get rid of it, I'd have done it a long time ago. I'm like, okay, but if you could get rid of it, would you? Yeah. All right. And so I took her deep into hypnosis. And we led up to it with a few sessions, but on the night we took it away. I had her do an arm stiffening. So she's deep in hypnosis, and I have her I get all paternal. Put all of your pain, put all of it into your arm, make it stiff as a rod, and let it go. And she's, oh. And then I had asked her, what are you gonna do when you no longer have this? Where are you gonna go? Who are you gonna talk to? What's your life gonna look like? And I wrote all these notes down. Then I said, all right, so you said you're ready to let it go. Now I want you to imagine a time in the very near future when you've let this go and you no longer need it and no longer serves you. And you're going to do this and you're going to do that and you're going to do this and you're going to go there. And I read back to her all the things that she said to me. And I said, now, when you're ready to let this go, your arm is going to begin to lift and rise, lifting and rising, rising and lifting, lifting and rising, rising, lifting, because you're ready to let this go and your body's going to tell it. And she didn't do anything, and I'm mortified. And I sit there and I'm patient. If I was brand new, I'd have really been mortified. But I've been doing this for a while, right? So I just wait, because there's a lag. There's a lag and delay and time distortion. So I let her sit, and then I come at her again, lifting and rising, rising and lifting your arm. When you're ready to let this go, your arm, because I'd already preconditioned her to an arm raising, right? She already did this and let it go. And now and all of a sudden, her arm begins to lift and rise and lift. And she's out here like this with her arm straight out in front of her. Her body signaled that she was ready to let go of this fibromyalgia bullshit. And then I told her all the great things that she was going to do. And it's already, imagine it doing it, see yourself doing it. And then I woke her up with her arm still stuck out in front of her. So her conscious mind could see that her body signaled it was ready to let go of these symptoms.
Wow.
And so a week later, Spacey's out a week. I let her go 2 weeks, and I called her and I said, "You ready for your next session?" She goes, "Yeah." We like texted, right? So there's a lag between. So she says, "Yeah," and I'm holding my breath. I hope it's not like she needs another session of fibromyalgia. I said, and I'm like, "What do you want to work on?" She goes, "I need some damn motivation. I've been sleeping in for 6 years." All right. He was ready to go to her life. And I'm like, woohoo. Anyway, see what I mean? See the complex. So the same thing that made me a really good analyst and lobbyist, instead of politicians and corporations, I do it now for people. So I sift through their shit, and I'm really firm with them. I'm really straightforward. I don't take anybody's bullshit. They sit across from me, and everyone has a story. And I'm like, do you hear what you just said? You want to try that again? And they hear their own bullshit. I call them on it. And then we circle back and we lift it. And so here's the thing about in hypnosis, you can't be anxious and relaxed at the same time. So I take you in hypnosis and you're deeply relaxed.
I feel attacked now, Norman. That's my life. I'm relaxed and anxious at the same time.
Oh man. We'll talk afterwards. It's the law of opposites. And so when I take someone into deep hypnosis, then so they're deeply relaxed, and then you bring up the thing that they're afraid of, and they realize that it can't hurt them, and they let it go. Bring it up, let it go. It's called circle therapy. Bring it up, let it go. Bring it up, let it go. Anyway, people look at me like, well, what is it good for everything? I'm like, yeah. And that sounds like a panacea, but guess what? Life is a contact sport, and you get nicked up along the way, right? None of us gets out of it alive. We get these nicks along the way, and if you don't process the emotions that are associated with those nicks, you're gonna have some problems, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I'm all about helping them resolve the emotions that are associated with those tics, those nicks. We have 60 to 70,000 thoughts every day, and 90% of them are the same as they were yesterday. So if I ask you, why do you do that? And you say, well, 20 years ago, this happened. Problem is, memory is unreliable. You don't remember, you'll recount the details wrong. What you will recount correctly is how it made you feel, right? So now you're living a predictable future. I can predict how you're going to act in this situation because of this unreliable past. Living a predictable future based on an unreliable past that's robbing you of your precious present moment. So I do a lot of coaching, keeping people present. And
That's a hard thing to do.
I know we live in a 24/7 wired, like
Always behind the screen.
totally. And I get them off the electronics, at least half an hour before bed. And so I do a lot of coaching. There's another thing, Viktor Frankl, he's a Holocaust survivor, wrote Mankind's Search for Meaning. He talks about between stimulus and I'm trying to get in the frame. Between stimulus and response, between action and reaction, is a space. And in that space lies your power. Because you get to choose what kind of human being you want to show up as. We're leaking our power every day. I mean, he said, she did, the government, the Rona, like there's 1,000 reasons why you don't take responsibility for what the fuck's going on in your life. And what I say is you choose, and that's where your power is. There's also responsibility because you're on the hook for whatever you choose. You want to show up as an asshole and reactionary and have diarrhea of the mouth, then own it. Don't blame it on him or her, or the government or Rona, or you know what I'm saying?
A lot of these motherfuckers don't own nothing.
I know. So no, I'm not for everybody.
They blame everybody else for their shit.
It's everywhere. So I call, and sometimes I had a client today. She's like, you pissed me off. The last session was not a good one. I'm like, I took you to inner child. It was great. You met your inner little girl. You didn't like it? Well, she had been wrapped up with this guy who turned out he was married, and she was telling me the story. I don't know if she was looking for sympathy or what. I'm like, I knew you were born at night, but I didn't know you were born last night. And I thought it was funny. Oh my God, that whole week between sessions, she couldn't wait to, speak me down. But guess what? She bought another 6 sessions.
Of course.
Because it's the
medicine. When it works, it works.
It's the medicine she needed. You know what I mean? And so, so my second book, I'm really uncomfortable with the stage. It serves as a place. It's very powerful. If you get it and you see 10 people are up there and 7 of them will go to sleep, they sleep, and 7 of them fall over, right? 3 of them don't. They're like, okay, you're dismissed. Because people say, well, can anybody be hypnotized? I said, yes. I mean, studies out of Stanford say that it's 80-20, that 20% can't be. I'm like, if you want to be, you can be. But if you cross your arms, it's like, I dare you. It's like a person who goes to a psychic and says, well, you tell me. Well, you got to give them something. They got to hone in on something. You got to give them something, right? It's not just, otherwise, how could you process walking by somebody if that's how it works? Right? Yeah. So like if you cross your arms, you won't let me in. I can't get in.
Yeah, it's like you're putting up a wall. You're being resistant to it.
Totally resistance. It's major resistance, and people come to me, and I call them under resistance, and they get a little butthurt sometimes. But you know what I mean. Not showing up for your appointment, showing up late, rescheduling a bunch of times. I'm like, wow, resistance is bad with this one. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You ever had anybody come to
you to get people to do things because we've gotten so quote unquote polite that we won't let people get butt hurt. But honestly, people need to get butt hurt a little bit more so that way they can realize, no, look, you have some flaws, you need to work on them and be nice about this. Like, I'm sorry that you're hurt by it, but don't be hurt. Just trying to help you out, And just to go back a little bit there, it sounded like, I don't know if like what the current state is of fibromyalgia. My aunt has it and has dealt with it, and I know that there's not really a medical definition of exactly what it is. But from what you're saying, it almost sounds like it might be psychosomatic as opposed to like an actual like physical disease.
Well, it's physical. Their symptoms are real and their pain is real.
Well, no,
Very
I
well.
mean like
Yeah.
it's a mental thing that's manifesting physically.
That's right. Its origin, it's emotional or mental
Mhm.
that manifests physically, but it's very real. I don't want to send the message that it's not real. The pain is real. And so psychosomatic, there's a whole body of medicine, a whole discipline of medicine called psychosomatic medicine. And it got a bad rap in the 70s because, oh, it's all in your head. Well, there is an emotional component to disease. There really is. There's a fairly new study of medicine called psychoneuroimmunology, which is really mind, body, spirit. It's a Western approach to Eastern, thought processes. Mind, body, spirit. It's all connected. Self-talk is super important because we're listening. We're listening. Every cell in our body is listening to that, that onboard conversation that we have. That we're always kind of engaged but
That's why your emotions are locked into most conversations.
totally,
So,
absolutely.
soon as you feel something's wrong, your body lets you know.
The Body Keeps the Score is a great book, and so what we do is called somatizing. You somatize. There's body syndromes, unexplained back pain. You can't bear the weight of the world. Unexplained leg pain. You can't run away from your problems. Unexplained arm pain. You can't fight your way out of something. Like it's deceptively simple, and we want some complicated explanation. We need some scientist with alphabet soup behind their name to give us an explanation of what's going on. Folks your people who are dealing with fibromyalgia, it's real. But if they sifted through their emotional experiences, if they returned to childhood and reflected upon some of their traumatic, and you don't have to see somebody die to suffer trauma. It can be a bitter disappointment. It can be guilt. I had a client, she was in her 70s, crippled with all kinds of stuff. And I pressed her for what was going on. What started first and what was going on in your life when it started? And she hemmed and hawed, and I pressed her and I pressed her. She said, I had an affair. I'm like, oh, okay. Are you Catholic? Yeah. Did you confess to the priest? Yeah. Did you ask God to forgive you? Yeah. I'm like, then why didn't you forgive yourself? I want you to write down everything you've been diagnosed with and take it and burn it. Burn that piece of paper and be kind to yourself. Like we lock ourselves in prison, a prison of our own making, and don't realize we have the key. I do a lot of radical forgiveness. It's a 3-letter process. You go in a dark place and light a candle, and you got your little notebook. And first letter, press hard. How could you motherfucker? How could anybody treat anybody? How could anyone do anything? The things you did to me, press hard, cry, get it out. I forgive you, sign your name, take it in the yard, burn it. Letter number 2, I get it. You were just being you, had nothing to do with me. You didn't buy it off the shelf. You learned it from somewhere else. You didn't go buy it off the shelf. So that you be you, I'll be me. I forgive you, sign your name, burn it. Letter number 3, you taught me pain and suffering, and I'm a better person for it, even though it's going to be a great karmic consequence to you. But that's not my role. It'll be meted out by someone much bigger than me. And as a result, I'm a better person, and I'm grateful, and I forgive you. Sign your name, burn it, and then go in and wash your hands very ceremoniously. It's just a ritual, see what I mean? And you just feel it come off of you, the weight, that funny feeling in the pit of your stomach that you had, you've never quite been able to explain. When you forgive that asshole that did you wrong, that funny feeling goes away.
Interesting.
You do a lot of times that assholes ourselves.
Probably about 75% of that time.
I have people do radical forgiveness letters on themselves.
Wow.
Totally.
So you cover all bases.
That's it. That's right. Because, if you talk long enough, I'm gonna get to the kernels of, the little kernel like sifted
The next and crannies.
Is it? There's a little nugget. Boom. Okay, this is what I was looking for. All right, you ready to write a new story? And then that's the next step. Are you ready to write a new story?
Well, what's your weirdest encounter?
Guy, 72 years old, comes in to quit smoking. And he's quit before. And
Like most 70 something year olds, they quit more than once.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Quitting's easy. It's done it 100 times. But he quit for a long time, and he couldn't explain this. And so he comes in. I'm like, okay, all right. So I start. How many do you smoke? What brand? And he says, I got to tell you something. I got to tell you something. I had an affair. I was ready to move to Washington. I was packed my bags, and I couldn't do it to my wife. The smoking, it wasn't about the smoking. It was about this affair that he needed, because as soon as he said he couldn't follow through with it, she just beat him down verbally. The unrequited affairee in Washington, he's in LA. She just like, you little man, you're worthless. I mean, and now he's like, he couldn't follow through on, you know what I mean? Now he's like down on himself. And so I helped him get through, build his ego back, and the cigarettes went away. It just,
essentially the cigarettes were there to supplement.
Yeah. To abuse himself, to, puff it away, and to make himself feel like shit, and, to punish himself, and to speed up his demise. Or I had a gal, she runs an organic products company, and she says, I have a sugar addiction. I'm like, all right, come on in. And we did 3 sessions on negative reinforcement for sugar, and she did real well. And so she did the 3 sessions, and like 3 months later, she calls me up. She says, "Oh, I fell off the wagon. Can you help me? Oh, you got to help me." I'm like, "Oh yeah, come on in." So I pulled her file, and I was looking through it before she got there. And when she got there, I'm like, "What's going on?" She goes, "Oh, my mom's celebration of life, and I put it on all the time, and and it's coming up, and my brother won't help me." And I said, "Well, you said you thought you dealt with your mom's death. Let me ask you something. Did she cook? Did she bake cookies for you? Did she make cupcakes and cookies when you were a kid?" I said, "This is about sugar. It's about your mom." And we did 3 sessions on hypnotherapy for coping with loss. Sugar fell away. It wasn't about the sugar. It was about her mom. And it's never about what they come in for. I deal with a lot of women weight loss, and it's not the weight. They can't lose the weight because it's a layer of protection because they were abused.
Wow.
There's a lot of intrafamilial abuse, and it's really sad. I got to smudge. I got to ground and clear. I mean, I got to clear my energy on a regular and frequent basis. I had to get real. The universe didn't let me get to this level of success until I was trained how to deal with it. Because if you don't know how to guard your energy, and I've got crystals and shaman stones. And
my wife does all of that stuff. She got geodes and all of that up on her shelf also.
Yeah, you got to guard your energy, because you'll absorb. Look, I didn't know what the fuck to make of my sensitivity when I was a Marine or when I was riding bulls. I'm brawling with people because I figured them out, and they're uncomfortable by it, right? And we're in the dirt fighting because neither one of us figured out what it was about. I had to learn what this. Women get it because they're all sensitive, they're all feeling.
Yeah, well, when you're a young man, aggression is the key.
Totally. And so I had to grow into this, and then I had to learn how to protect myself, my energy, and now I'm in the more than 10,000 hours mastery, and and I get it, and I love it. So I found my way to my life's purpose. So this is why it's like I work 12 hours a day and don't even know what time it is or what day it is, because I'm just, well, who's next? And I love it because it's what I was called here to do. And you can read Eckhart Tolle's Awakening to Your Essential Purpose and still not know what the fuck you're here for. You gotta find your way, and not everybody does. And then so they come back. If you don't learn, I always say, like, let me learn it quickly. Let me learn it quickly so I can move on to my next embarrassing moment, right? But
see, but that's the key. Everybody wants to learn it quickly and not take the journey. And the journey's in learning.
Well, that's it. I mean, you get done dirty and you learn from it. And I understand what you're saying. What I mean is, let me get through the dirty quickly. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No. I know what you're saying. It's most of us. We just want to rush through it.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I want to just get to the finish line.
Yeah. And so it's a masculine thing. So my next book is going to be called The Compass. My second book was Mastermind, Master Life, and it's about hypnosis and hypnotherapy and how people can use it in their lives. The next one is going to be called The Compass. We're moving out of Pisces and into Aquarius and away from materialism and masculine and patriarchy. And, the world's fucked up right now because we're in this massive transition. I thought it was going to be rainbows and unicorns and unicorn farts and stuff. And in reality, we're in plate tectonics because it's sea change, right? And so it doesn't mean that we just stop being a man. It doesn't mean you wear your man bun, skinny jeans, and drink Fuji water. It means you just get in. It just means you get in touch with.
I had a Fiji today.
Yo, just for the record, fuck Fiji. It's a terrible thing. Please continue.
The point is,
I love the taste.
There's masculine and feminine in each of us, and men need to get in touch with their feminine side, right? Because we're moving from patriarchy, duality, masculine, material, conflict into the feminine. Aquarius is collaboration, cooperation, spirituality, energy. So from materialism, Newtonian mechanics, into energy in the quantum field, right? It's a whole different program. So I'll give you an example. If in the old era you dropped a man and a woman into a forest, she's got a compass, he's got a machete. He hacks and slashes and hacks and slashes. Oops, wrong way. She says, I could have told you that. Hacks and slashes. He's knocked down the whole damn forest to get to where they were going. Now in the new era, same man, same woman, same compass, they drop him into the forest and he says, which way? And she tells him, and they hack only what, he destroys only what is necessary to be destroyed. So it's about emotional intelligence. That's what it's really about. It's about balance, yin yang. So it's like, don't not be a man, be an awakened man, be a man who's in touch, and that's just as manly.
It's okay, Norman. I heard what you was about to say. Be a woman. That's what she was going to say.
Women need to be women. Women need to be women. Look at the politicians, female politicians. They try and outman the men.
Yeah.
The first woman who runs as a woman, and this happens in the other parts of the world. They don't have to be all macho and manly, and women, lead other nations. But here, it's like they got to outman the men, and so there's a role for each of us. The 7 Hermetic principles. There's, have major importance. So.
Because America got a big old invisible sack.
Yeah, and we need to have a pair of ovaries to go with that sack.
That's weird, Norman. That's weird.
I just need a hybrid sack of ovaries.
Yeah,
you can then impregnate yourself from the inside like reptiles.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I want to go that far, but
I understand. That's a bridge. That's really torturing the metaphor. Yeah.
So your books, can we find those on your website?
Yeah, there are links to my books on my website. The first one is Take Charge of Your Cancer: The 7 Proven Steps to Healing and Recovery. I didn't make these up. These are the ones I found my way to, and turns out most people who survive cancer utilize these 7 steps. And just scroll down. And then the second book is Mastermind, Master Life. And it is about what is hypnosis, what's its history, what does science say about it, and how can you apply it in your life. And the Compass will be out later this year.
The Compass. Now, what's that one about?
That's the one emotional intelligence and moving into the age of Aquarius, where it's an exciting time. The quantum field, and look at Bitcoin.
Look at Billy Bob Thornton's brother.
I was saying he looks kind of familiar. I wasn't sure where I was getting that from. In that photo there.
Don't make fun of my $2,000 LA Beverly Hills headshot. Come on now.
No, if
He
anything,
wasn't making fun.
It's just up there with Billy Bob. He's he's a good actor. You can see. I mean, you can actually honestly tell it's a really good photo.
Really good photo.
I had a really good photographer. Literally,
Billy Bob is a compliment.
Okay, good.
He was married to Angelina. He did his thing with Halle Berry. You can't go wrong with that.
Dang.
You're right. I didn't even think about that. Like Billy Bob.
If I had half,
he's the key, but he knows how to move.
If I had half that batting average, I'd be okay.
I think a lot of us were.
I'm pretty sure with that headshot, your batting average is pretty good.
I've done okay. I've never been lonely. You know what? The thing is, when I awakened to my essential purpose and my spirituality, I was given a spiritual soulmate, and someone who was very unlikely. She was born in China. She's a doctor of traditional Chinese medicine. I'm learning Chinese. We study the Tao. It's like, I didn't. It came out of left field. I didn't see this coming, and it's just
Pretty cool.
It's very cool. My life, there was a minute in the middle of the cancer. My ex-wife was my business partner, and she was the one who started taking pills and drinking heavily and had an affair with my son's baseball coach. And like, I had been the baseball coach, the manager for 7 years. She goes, "You're going to do it this year?" I'm like, "No, I'm fighting for my life and being the lobbyist and all this stuff. But you stay involved, be the team mom." Like, no, not like that, And
she was the team mom, all right.
Yeah, she was a team mom, yeah. And so, I don't talk about. I did that radical forgiveness stuff I told you about. I did that for her. I let it all go. Because I was emotionally wounded, and I could have gone south in a big way when I lost my 4,000 square foot house and my Porsches and my trophy wife and all. You know what I mean? I could have gone super south in that moment, and I didn't. Instead, I put myself into the service of others. I mastered a trade and a craft that helps people, and the universe rewarded me with a life that I can't even begin to tell you. This weekend I'm moving in. My son is 16, turning 17. He's had it with his mom's drama, and he's moving in. My roommate's going to be my kid.
All right.
He wants to learn to wrench and and cook and
Now you got to get him one of those headshots too. You'll be a cinch for dating sites.
He's a handsome fella, and he's 6'2", and my dad was 6'1", and I'm like, what is this, some cruel joke? I ended up 5'7", and just like skipped right over me.
Yeah, that's my whole family too. I'm 5'8", and everybody else, my cousins, except on my dad's side, they're all taller. On my mom's side, they're all hobbits.
Yeah, it's the only thing I can't fix with hypnotherapy. Everything else is.
Well, they're fixing that now. Apparently, you could get shin surgery or something like that. Have metal rods implanted in your legs.
Yeah. I'm going to grow bald gracefully, and I'm going to just be short. And because I'm 5'7".
Yeah, I got some here. You want some of this?
Yeah.
I'll give you some. There's enough here.
Well, see, look, I just grow it where I can now.
Yeah.
Out of my ears and my eyebrows.
Some places really intend where it's like, all right, well, I see the efforts,
Yeah.
Back here on your ears, like, what is this?
What is
this out here? Out here.
Yeah, my wife, she grooms me all the time. She plucks hairs from places I didn't even know they were growing.
Yeah. See, I'm fortunate to have been trained to where now I'm aware of that, but before my ex, that was not possible. I was not real good at that, so I definitely. I still miss it sometimes. So I checked my nose earlier today, and I was like, "Oh my god, I've been dropping the ball."
Well, Norman, we know you're more than likely a pretty busy man. So, what do you want to give us any last minute plugs for the audience?
Yeah, we all have our own answers. If you just take a moment and if you think that politicians, athletes, and superstars of any fashion control the outside world. You're wrong. Control of the outside world is illusion. What they control is their inner world, and that helps them show up in a big way in the outer world. And so my advice for anybody, control your inner world. Get real balanced in your inner world. Love or fear in any moment in your heart space, and it's your choice. Fear gives rise to all negative emotions. Love gives rise to all positive emotions. And so I tell people, come up with an icon, a picture of what represents love. It could be a red rose, a heart, I don't know, whatever the fuck you want to picture love. And you just bring it here into your heart space, and it will dissolve all negative emotions and all fear. Fear is false evidence appearing real. My website, normanplotkin.com, NORMANPLOTKIN. You can find me there. I'm on IG. I'm on Facebook. I'm on all the usual suspect places. I do virtual, done hypnotherapy on Zoom with people all over the world. If you can get yourself into it, I can help you get out of it with hypnotherapy. If you're locked out of it and want to get in, I can help you with hypnotherapy.
Okay. That's a wonderful advertisement you got there. I'm definitely enticed myself.
Definitely.
Because she might be interested in contacting you for things she's dealing with.
I love what I do. I'm good at it, and I want to tell the whole world. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity because, without opportunities like this, I won't, my voice isn't heard the way I want it to be. And
well, the pleasure's all ours. We're thankful that you accepted the invitation. We do want to extend another invite. Would you ever be interested in coming on another live show we do on Saturdays, and maybe getting the audience involved and reading some signatures?
The signature is how you show up in the world. It's less telling than I would need just a paragraph. I can do handwriting analysis. I read tarot cards as well. I can pull a tarot card.
Hey, that would be very interesting, actually. Maybe we could set something up for that.
Yeah.
We haven't had that done in the break room yet.
Yeah, I study under a psychologist who's written 5 books on tarot and psychology. I love hippies, but I couldn't. I had to learn it from an intellectual. Just me. And so this guy, he has his own deck. He's a brilliant he's a psychologist, and so I have a different angle on tarot, and super excited about that. Might even, if someone wanted to volunteer to be hypnotized on the air, I've done that. I had a podcast appearance, and we always pregame beforehand, and he didn't tell me. In the pregame, he didn't tell me. Halfway through the show, he says, "Can you hypnotize me now?" And when I was 3 years into this, I'd have been mortified, but I'm really good, and I didn't miss a beat. I hypnotized him. He had a very positive experience on camera, and it was short enough that it didn't take up the whole show. I knew, like when I was a lobbyist, I was a master of 3-minute speech, because they bring the buzzer or they bring the hook comes out. You get 3 minutes, right? Man, I could punch you right in the nose in 3 minutes and walk away. So anyway, really good on my feet. There's all kinds of things we can explore. Let's talk offline and do something fun. I love this.
Yeah, definitely. But let me let you know that we're kind of laid back here on Talking Junk. We let you let us know your journey, how'd you get to where you were. But in the break room, we play by a bunch of different rules. We're usually sponsored by different liquor companies or things of the sort. This time we're sponsored by Sugar Works. It's a nice distillery out here, and we've been giving their products a try. So you can bring your own nightcap. We can give you the information for Sugar Works. Maybe you could grab some of that. We'll get the drinks flowing on camera, and we can do whatever you want. You can read some tarot cards. You can hypnotize some people. You can read somebody's paragraph, whatever you like.
Sounds great. And again, like, I'm really good on my feet. So whatever your format, I'll step right in and dance.
That sounds good. We're going to be dancing together pretty soon. So, again, we want to thank you for joining us on Talking Junk. Join us tomorrow night. We're going to be in the break room as always. Thank you, Junkers. Have a great night.
Adios.